giving me a hard time either. All right. Good morning or good afternoon or wherever you are in the world. Hey, everyone. It's Allegra and TC and Sarah, and we are here at the LinkedIn Roundtable for the W.I.N community. And of course, this is the last one for the year. We do this once a month to make sure that you guys are just informed. You have such amazing time with us to talk about community, what it means to you. We've had so many people comment on our previous lives to say, like, hey, that was really exciting. We don't hear that a lot. And so we want to hear more from y'all about what community means for you. And we're also going to talk about our businesses. And I'm going to be shouting out some community members today because this is our last live of the year. And I just want to amplify that. I want to maximize the time, maximize the opportunity. And we've just had some amazing things happen over time as well. So I'll be doing some announcements along with that. My name is Allegra. I am the marketing medulla. I'm a business coach and marketing strategist, entrepreneur of so many years, I don't even want to count anymore. I'm also a business analyst, and I really want to strive to support you in your business development, making sure you're structural, okay? You have to have your business plans in place, your marketing strategies, and amplify your funding, and I give you resources to do that. Now, I also work with others to make sure that you have a full scope in your business. TC and Sarah are amazing. I include them in a lot of my process when it comes to passing you down if there is something that I cannot do for you, because they are genius at what they do. So I'm going to pass the mic over so that they can introduce themselves, and then we're going to get into the topic today about a community, about collaboration, what that means to you. And we're going to have a couple of labs and also feature some members as well. So y'all shout out, share this live, and let us know you're here in the comments. TC, I'm going to pass it over to you.
Yay! Thank you so much. So it's sad that it's the last live, but it's exciting because that means basically that we are about to get into where it really matters, which is basically 2024, because there's just so much going on behind the scenes, and I'm so excited. So looking at it, I don't think I'm sad anymore. Maybe I'm just emotional. But then my name is TC. I'm a launch and sales automation strategist. I help you set your business and sales on autopilot, get you results on overdrive. So if you're thinking, hey, how can I get all of this work done? All of these strategies, all of this marketing, all of this sales, like I need help with getting it done for me. Now I'm your best plug, best plug ever. Okay. But I'm very excited to talk about the topic of today. Community, trust me, we all need it, regardless of where you are in your life and in your business. And I can't wait to get into the conversation. Over to you, Sarah.
Thanks, TC. Hey, everybody. I am Sarah. I'm the New Jersey WIN leader, and I am also a social media strategist focusing on organic marketing only. Um, and I can't believe it's going to be 2024 already, too. Like, I'm planning with my clients heading into the new year, how they want to get more visible. And this year went by really, really fast. I have to say, it's like crazy. And there are a lot of behind the scene things going on with WIN, from us planning our meetups, mini meetups, and seeing what else our community wants. And like Allegra said, we're going to give a few shout outs to certain community members who have really stepped up this year, and we just want to spotlight them a bit. So I'll pass it back to you, Allegra.
Yeah, we're in a spotlight. And it's funny because you said that. I'm thinking people do have to show up, right? That's what community is. And something that I've noticed over time is that we've really influenced the power of showing up. A lot of the things that we complain about, like, oh, I don't have support, or I don't know how to go live, or I don't have the tools. I literally have seen over the last year alone, because we've been doing this for a couple years now, but I've seen over the last year alone how we've increased value in building people up to like start where they are and just go into different spaces, whether it's Clubhouse or LinkedIn Audio, or coming to what I call one of the most amazing virtual spaces, which is the virtual WIN meetup that TC and Sarah conducts for us. And Tamisha joined in last time. And I love that because we're really showing, honestly, truly connection and collaboration and how we support each other without the gatekeeping, without the cattiness, without the blah, blah, blah everybody talks about. I've never experienced that, so I don't know what that means. But in this community, I just see everyone flourishing. So I just wanted to first throw that out there because there's a lot of things that, people don't know exist within communities. I've seen communities grow and fall apart immediately after inception, right? Because there was no structure behind it. I've seen communities that have, just really embraced others, but then didn't really know how to provide the resources and tools to their members. And the one thing that I've noticed about the leaders in this community and the members is that we're super authentic, very intentional about what we want. We all have big goals, right? We all have really big dreams, and we want to do big things in life. And in order to be able to do that, you have to be surrounded by people that what we call iron sharpens iron, right? Like there's going to be some sparks flying. Whenever you have iron sharpening iron, there's some sparks flying there. And we do because we because we love each other and we love to like have camaraderie. But through the process of building and getting to know people from all around the world, you're going to learn so much. And so I want to talk about that a little bit. What do you learn when it comes down to connecting, collaborating with community? Because one of the things for me is that I learned that there are limitless possibilities. I truly believe that as I've grown, like I remember in the beginning of building this community, it was on Clubhouse. Remember, y'all? Like it was just like we just were on Clubhouse just chilling. Like, so who's over there in the UK and who's over there in Canada and what's up, Thailand? Like we're talking to people all over the world. And it blew my mind because I was thinking, where do we get to do this? Like, where do we ever get to get on a freaking app and talk to people around the world? It was never heard of. So now that we are 3 years, 4 years down the road, we've seen that when we took advantage of building relationships with people, whether it's behind the app, on a phone, or whether it's behind a video like we're doing now talking to you all, or whether it's just getting on a phone, a Zoom call, we know that intentional effort, it drives relationships and it drives results. And I know that when I think about networking, we always talk about what does that really mean, right? And I always look at networking like we have a whole bunch of people in our community, right? And if you put us on a piece of paper with a whole bunch of dots, you would be able to draw lines between every single dot and we will all be connected because somewhere around the line, as I know Sarah knows someone else in the community and that person knows someone else in the community. And so we actually get to drive that community energy just by being genuine, authentic, and showing up for ourselves every day. Now, TC is one of the main people I know is one of the biggest community builders that I've ever met in my life. When I go somewhere and I'm like in the mom link or, in another community and they're like, oh yeah, TC talks so highly about y'all and TC's always doing this. And I'm like, really? Like we get to get that exposure in places that we're not in. And that's what community is about. It's really about being able to be in places that you don't even put your foot in, but you have your name said out loud. People know about you. And we do it for each other, right? TC is amazing at what she does. And that's why I love when I see someone that's struggling and I'll be like, y'all go to TC because you over here struggling and she gonna get your whole life together. And so that's what community really does. It really does empower you and it protects you in a way where you get to amplify together. Now, what I've learned through this whole process when it comes down to community, is like, if you are not intentional about what you want, then you're not going to get it. It doesn't matter. That's life, period. Right. So if like, hey, I need to build my business. Hey, I need to build my life. Hey, I need to meet new friends, right? You got to have a goal. And once you get into community, we're able to support you in that goal. And that's what I've seen this whole entire year. That's what I've seen actually the entire time is that I've learned that if you just intentionally put yourself in the right place at the right time, and sometimes we don't know what that is, right? We don't know what the right place and the right time is. So in those days, like even today, y'all, like today was one of those days I'm like, oh my God, this was a long week. Like I'm like tired. Like, have you ever had those days?
Yes.
I'm like, y'all, if y'all don't lay me to rest, like lay me down. And I just, have this, and what's so crazy is that I've learned that in those times, that's why you have to have community, because I've had so many of those moments, y'all. I'm talking about what have we learned, right? I have so many of those moments where I've literally been like, I'm so exhausted. And I start thinking, wait a minute, TC could do that. Wait a minute, I could ask Sarah. Or, and because of the community aspect, right? The relationships that we built, Sarah and TC be like, what you need? what's up, like what we need to do. And I think as women, and I just want to bring this back to the point that the women into networking, the reason why this is so important for women is because we are limitless creatures. Like, we birth the entire world. There's nothing that we cannot do. So when we get out here in our businesses and we need to really grow and prosper, and we get blocked or we get stopped, it's like, wait, what is that? Like, wait a minute. So we have the ability to really use what we have in ourselves, which is our ability to be empathetic, our ability to connect and to love and to support, right? Those are things that come really natural for a lot of us. And when we do that in community without having to take on the world's idea of what community is, that's when we really prosper and we grow together. And I've literally seen that in this community over the past year. So I want to hear your takes on that, because I know that, I said a lot, but TC, I'm going to go over to you because I want to know, about your experience and what that really means when it comes down to, what you learn in community and how it impacts you in your world.
So I loved everything you talked about, and you kept talking about, or rather going back to a particular word, intentionality. So the truth is, for a relationship to make sense for anyone, you want to be very intentional, right? In the past, I always say this. I used to shy away from saying it, but now I say it with my full chest, because that's my reality. I literally built my entire business online, like every single cent online, right? And if there's anything I know, is the fact that relationships don't just blossom. You need to be a part of it to make it happen, right? You need to be intentional, right? So if one person is bringing one foot, you bring one, like bring your two legs and your hands, right? And for me, with community, not everyone will agree with this, but one thing I know is that we should kind of play low with our expectations, especially when it comes down to online communities and support systems. I feel like when we start to level down our expectations, we see the benefits, right? Because then we are into it for what we can give and not what we can get. See, what I know is simple, that everything you put your hands on would definitely yield you something, right? Even if it means you sleeping every single day. And like, I see Allegra smiling, I see Sarah
Because I
smiling,
said,
but
preacher,
I'm
preacher.
focused on my phone.
We don't even know who you
I'm
are,
focused
and
on
you
my
over here
focus,
preaching
right?
to us.
No, but thinking about it, Allegra, right? I've been in a couple of communities, right? And I realized that it's now a norm for people to just voice out community, 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 community. Like, they don't understand the essence of that particular word. And so it's important that we talk about these things, right? Because when our expectations are like overboard, then we don't get to see the true benefits of those communities because of the expectations we've set for ourselves, right? So for me, stay intentional, be the one to want to give, right? And your expectations, understand that with community comes mutual benefit, right? Don't just stay there and think somebody's going to serve you something just because they allowed you to be in their community. It's not going to work. You're literally going to go like you never came in the first place. I'm just going to rest there. Sarah is
Whoa.
smiling.
Wait. TC, you can't just, people don't even know who you are. Okay, do your introduction. But I
Yeah.
want to I want to say something because that was powerful because I was in my experience, y'all, and we have to realize where we are in our development. Because in my experience, listen, I would come in your community years ago, get what I needed and be gone. Okay? Like in a heartbeat. Because it was just my lack of awareness. It was
Yeah.
also my lack of maturity, right? And what I needed for me and what I need to do. I just didn't know. And so we have that a lot. And that's why we talk about these things, because sometimes It's just you don't know what you don't know. And I love how you brought that to the forefront. Like, I don't know what the example you were trying to say with the one leg and the two. I don't know. I don't know how many legs or feet I need
She
to
was
put in there.
saying somebody brings a cord, you bring your hands and your legs to help them. That's what she was trying
Okay,
to say.
because I was like, do they bring their leg and I bring my feet, or what? Like, what? So listen, because TC went because TC has these analogies, and sometimes we got to break it down. Like, okay, TC, that's what she means. But I love that because sometimes we get very desperate, or we get very like, woe is me, or I need. And one thing that I've realized is that even in times of need, when I give, it comes back to me. When you
I was
give,
just
it
gonna
will
say.
come back. Right, Linus? Linus, like,
Yeah, I'm popping in the middle of the conversation. First of all, I'm just thrilled that I actually got here because you know how I struggle getting places because of time zones and everything else, and my schedule's just so impacted. But I've had this on my calendar for a while, so I'm glad I'm here. And I think I knew the gist of what you're talking about. But I was just going to say, in any community, organization, friendship, whatever, if you want to get something out of it, you have to lead with service. If you don't lead with service, then it's not going to work for you. It's just not going to work for you. And it seems like, just from something I saw you post the other day, some things been going on with people having different expectations or using the group.
whoa! Do you want me to elaborate on that part?
Really? Okay. And also lead it, because people, it's about networking. It's just like the same thing with social media. A like doesn't equal a dollar, and a follow doesn't equal a client. It's about networking. Because you belong to a community doesn't mean that all of a sudden your sales are going to skyrocket and that
Yep.
community is going to do business with you all the time. It's not about the person who belongs to the community doing business with you. It might be the person's neighbor's brother, sister who does business with you. It might be the fact that the person's talking about you and that's free publicity. It might be about the fact that things like this, people are getting exposed to you who never would have gotten exposed to you, who's like, okay, I'll remember that for later. But not necessarily that the people in that community are going to do business. When I decided to get involved in this, my idea was, well, number one, to intersect with women who are younger than I am, because I'm 66 and the majority of the people who I work with are in between 40 and 55. So, that's what my thought was. And the other thing was to be of service, because I see so many of my 40 somethings setting themselves up to not be this vibrant at this age. They're going to have issues if they don't lose the weight, if they don't start taking better care of themselves, if they don't minimize the stress, if they don't find out what supplements they need to do, if they don't keep their doctor's appointments or holistic appointments or whatever. That was the reason why I came. I didn't come to think that, oh, everybody's going to do business with me. Most people don't do business with me in social media. I get my clients in all kinds of ways. It's weird, but not necessarily social media, though I have lots and lots of following. That's not where it necessarily comes from. So, but again, it all depends on where you are in your walk, emotionally, from a maturity standpoint, but also as an entrepreneur. And when you make an investment, okay, and things don't come according to your expectations, people get a little, so maybe part of one way to counteract that is to explain exactly what community is, or what your definition is as a leader of what community is and what they can expect, because they can't expect support in terms of being able just to talk to people and maybe brainstorm or ideas or whatever. They can't expect some exposure. They can't expect a community of women of like minds that are unlike their friends, who don't understand anything in many cases about being an entrepreneur or earning money online or all the different stuff that we do. They're like, oh, okay. I have friends still asking me where my online magazine is. Where can they buy it? It's an online magazine. So, you at least get yourself around a community of women who get it in terms of what you're trying to do and can be supportive and, pat you on the back when you need it and slap you in the head when you need it, that kind of thing. But expect that every person in that community is going to want to do business with you, and to get mad about that. That's not the best way to be in any situation when it comes to any kind of social media group that you join or any of that stuff. Okay. I don't know if that's what you were talking
I
about.
agree
That's what I'm
with
saying.
you because I
Came for
I
the
used
net.
to have that mindset when I was younger, that you're going to go into a networking group. Oh, I'm going to get this business, that business, but that's not what it is. And in addition to that, something you said, Allegra, made me think of what happened last night. I was at an in-person networking event, and I have this friend Dawn. We I do pet sitting in addition to social media marketing. So we both do pet sitting. She does it full time though, and I kind of do it more part time. But she actually said, because right after I introduced myself, she introduced herself, and she said, "Now this might seem like we would be competitors, but we work together. When I need a hand, Sarah's there, and vice versa." And I told her next year I'm kind of changing things up, and she's changing things up in her business. So the services that we're switching around actually complement each other. So again, we'll be able to refer each other, but it's because we've gotten to know each other over the last year or so now that we're friends, we're comfortable with it, and that's what you have to think about going into a community. Just don't shy away from people in your industry. Get to know them, because they you can always lend a hand to each other, and you can learn from someone who has more experience in the same industry as you.
Oh
So
yeah, I'm always looking for people in my industry. In fact, I have been very, very gracious on purpose when it comes to lending my platform to wellness coaches, holistic practitioners, all of that. And it has done nothing but keep me in business. There's something about, from a spiritual perspective, the energy that comes from a service spirit. Also, I don't know everything, and I don't want to, nor do I expect every single woman over 40 to work with me as a wellness coach. I don't want all that business. I couldn't handle it anyway. Not everybody's for me, and I don't, most wellness coaches, if they're worth their weight in gold, they have a niche. I'm of a generalist with an emphasis on anxiety, stress, and gut health. Okay. But there are other, folks in my genre who do other things. So you can't do it all. But let's say social media. Since social media, right? Everybody's on social media, whatever. There's still certain personality types that you might work better with than other personality types. So you can't expect to look at it as competition. But I love the idea of leading with collaboration. Even when you are in the same genre, same niche, you might be able to do some things together and make money together. And if you get a client and you get a client out of it and the other person doesn't get a client out of it, oh, well, it's still exposure. You never know. Maybe that person will work with
Oh,
that
wait,
client well.
can we put a pin in that real quick?
What did I say?
Because Linus, real quick, because you talked. No, you said great things, but what you said something that I want to highlight about when you are collaborating and one person gets more than the other.
Oh,
And I want to highlight that because that is a thing. That is really a thing in community. But before we go on, because I don't want anyone to get confused about like who are we? Real quick, let's do some introductions. Okay, so go around the table. TC, you go first.
Okay, so
Who are
my
these
name is
people?
Steve. Yeah.
where is this
Okay,
rolling to?
so let's start this again. My name is TC. I'm a launch and sales automation strategist. I am a part of the W.I.N leadership team. I'm the W.I.N leader for the UK, and we do like this amazing monthly W.I.N virtual meetup as well. That's one space you don't want to miss out on. Okay, that's a highlight for me for now. Over to you, Sarah.
thanks, TC. Hey everyone, I am the New Jersey leader for the WIN community, and I am also a social media strategist, and I am a pet sitter as well. So that's my business background. Linus, I'll pass it to you.
My name is Linus Mullins, and I'm a holistic living and wellness coach for women over 40. I'm also a social media strategist for wellness coaches in particular. And I'm one of the WIN leaders too, although I don't know exactly what my official title is. I saw something you posted yesterday and I said, oh, that's my title. What's my title? Which one am I?
Basically you are a leader, but VIP in the space where we have audio rooms and a lot of virtual stuff. You haven't had an
Okay.
event yet, so
Okay.
you can't really.
TC's cracking up. She's like,
Because
hi,
TC knows.
TC.
Because TC knows TC hasn't had her official event either, but we're all leaders. So,
Okay.
so the leaderships that we have, all of our individuals, like you see here on our stages, we have VIPs as well. Linus is also a VIP, and I think it's so important though because what we're talking about when you said what you said, Linus, about the difference between two people in the same community. And I want to highlight this because we see a lot of the back end of community, right? A lot of what people don't see at the forefront. And this is why we have the roundtable, because we want to talk about it. Like, these are things that are real to community, and we want to be transparent because there are a lot of people in our community that want to have community. So we don't want to mislead you or misguide you and say, oh, it's all, roses and daisies. This is a real thing. People need you. People need community. They need you to tell them. I think Linus said it, like, slap you upside your head a couple times and tell you, like, hey, that's not okay. And I've had to do that several times. I've had to do that a lot.
Yeah.
I remember building a community and going through, choosing to work with people, and then, people falling off or being disappointed. There's a lot of that involved. So you have to really build tough skin. And it's not just about building community. It's also about being a part of it, because you are going to meet people that may not have the same intention, that may not, be on the same wavelength. And you have to kind of know how to maneuver through those relationships. That's really important. I had a story about a young lady who actually came into the community. She actually of course, wanted to get her stuff out there. And there were a couple of the people doing the same thing. Same thing. And this is what we were leaning towards, because there's a lot of business coaches out there. I don't care. Like, they're not me. They can't do what I do, like, to Linus's point. But there are some times where we get very intimidated and overwhelmed by the fact that there are other people around us that are doing what we do. And I want to be an encouragement here, because what I found was that when people get discouraged and they either leave community because they're like, oh, I can't compete there. The point is to partner, not to compete. Like, community is here to allow you to partner. And if you don't know how to do that, that's when you start asking questions like, how do I get better at this? How do I get better at building a relationship with someone that does the same thing that I do? And I want to ask y'all a question about this, because this is what you've all done, and you've been leaning towards this. But how do I build a relationship with someone who does exactly like I do, that I look at as competition? Because if you don't look at that as a way to say, how can we partner? How can we build together? I think there are other things that come to play, like maybe a little bit of jealousy. Maybe you feeling a little down about yourself. Maybe you're like, okay, now community is
Imposter
not what it
syndrome.
was. You can go there, Sarah. I mean, listen, this is real life stuff. And so when I've experienced these conversations that I've had over time have been very real. Like, listen, this is how you feel, but that's not what it is. And as long as you're able to sit in that feeling, you're going to sit in that situation. We don't ever want people to fail. And so we always encourage it. From my standpoint, whenever you feel like, hey, I'm in a community and somebody's doing what I'm doing, we want to help you build so that you can work together and you can know how that looks. And when when we do that, what I find, because we have great examples of that, right? TC and Sarah, for example, y'all do a lot of the same things, don't y'all?
Yeah,
Right?
we definitely overlap with email marketing. That's for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you too, and this is a great example, because my leaders are strong. Listen, my leaders are strong. When I say strong, they will take it to the bank. And Sarah and TC, I've had like people, my clients come back to me and rave about their services and say, oh my God, like, I use Sarah for this, I use TC for that. And then our corporate partner, saying, like, she's over here just pinging away, like, who can I use next? I'm gonna use this person, that person, this person. And she doesn't care that you do the same thing. And I love that. Shout out to her niece, my mentor. Okay. And I love that because, it gives us a way to see that there's just really no competition when it comes down to it. Like, there is healthy ways to compete, but when it comes down to you and what you do in your business and how you do it, even how you do life, there is no one that can do it like you. And so we got to look at this from a very different scope and say, how do we work together without feeling so heavily competitive within community? I'll stop right there. Okay. TC, Sarah, go ahead, because y'all are competing and not at the same
Yeah.
time.
So, Sarah, go ahead, because I have a personal story to share, and I think that it's important that we hear things the way they are, because sometimes we're like, these are just stories. No, they're not stories, right? They're not stories, and they are things that happen, right? So please, Sarah, go on before I share my
I
story.
I just wanted to jump in and piggyback off of what Allegra was saying. When you view someone as maybe competition, and you're not really sure how to get into that collaboration mode, one of the first steps would be to have a virtual coffee chat. Reach out to this person, introduce yourself, ask them if they be interested in having, a 15-minute Zoom call. And if you happen to live near each other, if you click on Zoom, meet in person, because that's going to give you another level of vibration when you meet in person, and see if there's something you can do together. Maybe you want to do a master class together. Maybe you want to see if you can participate together with a vendor table in person. There's various ways to go about collaborating. So I just wanted to toss that out there for people to get ideas on how they could do it if they've never done it before.
You're talking about vetting. You're talking
Vetting?
about vetting, right? Is a vetting process to this. It's a vetting process to everything. And I think people don't really want to admit that, right? Like, we have to be very real about the fact that we meet people all the time that we don't know. So like I remember, shout out to Darren Shaw. I'm going to shout y'all out. If you are in Clubhouse, Darren Shaw, he's does NLP, and he's like, I remember meeting him on Clubhouse for the first time, and he was like, "Who's this weird girl asking me to go on the Zoom call?" And I was like, "Because I don't know you, and if I'm going to be in your rooms listening to your conversations and have myself on a stage, I need to know who you are." That's just period. And being able to know who someone is gives you an opportunity to see, okay, is this person I can work with? I can't, and it gives you clarity around the relationship, because there are certain people that I've gotten on calls with. I'm like, I could never work with you. Like, but I know where we stand. And it doesn't mean you have to be mean to someone or you have to leave their presence or anything. You can still benefit from being in spaces with those people and say, you know what, I wouldn't work with them, but maybe, you might want to go over there and see what they got going on, because they can't, I don't work with them, but maybe they can support you. And there's so many ways to look at that. But I think that if we don't have a really good way of saying, well, when I come into community, this is how I'm going to show up. This is how I'm going to connect, which I call a really deemed vetting process for me. And then actually know how you're going to continue connecting with those people, and keep them in your space. I think that that's where a lot of us fail. But go ahead, TC, you have a story?
Yeah, no, so not like a story. Okay, so for me, I feel like transparency is key. Especially in this space, there's so many times that we'll show up and say, oh, authenticity and blah blah blah. For me, that word has been trampled on a whole lot, and then people have like devalued what that word is, right? And so for me, transparency is key when it comes down to collaboration. And like, your yes should be your yes, your no should be your no. Like, don't see, the truth is, everybody might look stupid at the first glance in front of you, right?
Dang,
Yes.
TC. She is so
No,
hard
some
to the
people, no,
bird.
hold on. Allegra, I'm going somewhere. So some people feel that everybody else is stupid, right? I know where I'm going to. Everybody else is stupid until they realize that they are literally the joke in the question. Why? Because no, why? Because the truth is, when you go in a community and you want to partner with somebody, I believe in honesty and transparency, right? And if you don't know, ask, right? If you don't know, ask. So this is who I am, right? And I'm not, because this is who I am, I'm not going to maybe come up here and say something different and you meet me somewhere else and I'm different. No, what you see is what you get, right? And wherever you get to meet me, you would see it that way, right? And so I'm going to give you an example. So somebody reached out to me for a partnership, for a collaboration, two different set of people. Now the first person reached out and she's like, "Oh, TC, I need help, right, with email marketing." And apparently when she said so, I'm like, because for every prospect I get, right, I'm like going in to research on them, find out who they are and all of that. And so I did my research. Apparently, she is getting towards starting an agency, right? And so I didn't say a word. And then she got on a call with me and she kept asking questions, kept asking questions, kept asking questions. And just the person who I am, I'm like, pause, hold on. That's what I said. I said, pause, hold on. Tell me exactly why you're on this call. And she's like, well, she wanted to see how I get to do it. And I finished it up for her and I said, so you're able to do the same thing, right? And she's like, Tisa, you're so blunt. And I'm like, that's just who I am.
Yeah.
See, it would have been good for me if he had just told me, because the truth is, I would always know, right? You would have just come up straight to say, oh, TC, I need you to help me with this and blah, blah, blah. See, we're in this together. This industry is just, there's so much you can actually handle. We think that there is, there are limited clients. That's not true. How many clients can I afford to handle at a time? Right? You see, there are 1001 clients that are in your, at your disposal. All you just need to do is nurture them, right? You can't have all of, like, you can't handle all. That's just it, right? And so I said to her, I said, I'm sorry, but I can't work with you. And she's like, okay, can we at least barter? I said, no, I can't barter with you because I can't trust you. Right? See, I'm not going to wait for me to see you in person for me to decide if you're somebody I can trust or not. No, that entire process for me was a no. Now, this is one scenario, right? Now, there's another deal that I signed yesterday. Now, this lady, I've been like following her on Instagram, and we like each other, comments, like all of it. Apparently, she's into like social media management, right? And so I saw that she said, oh, she needed help with like her website and all of that. And so she's like, so I reached out to her and I'm like, oh, how can I support you with that? And so she's like, TC, can we get on the call? I said, yes. So we got on the call and she said, you know what, truthfully, TC, I want to expand my agency. And then I just listened to her and she kept talking and she kept talking. And I said to her, I said, do you know what a white label agreement is, or a white label contract is? And she's like, no, she doesn't. And I said, well, I'm actually in 4 right now, right? And this and these and these and these and these and these and these and this are basically what works. Now, her proposal at the end was, okay, you know what? She gives me like referral. I give her referral. I think like 25% of there. But I said, no, you want to build an agency. How about we partner? I do your work for you, right? You brand it as your name. You get your money. I don't care how much you sell it to your client, right? That's you. That's your business. And she just stayed there smiling at me and she's like, oh my gosh, I never thought about it. And I said, that's because you asked, right? And we sealed it. Now, like 2 different people entirely. And so when it comes down to collaborations, partnerships, community, for me, transparency is top priority. Don't go acting like you care about the world when you have something ulterior in your heart. That's just me. I'm sorry, y'all, but I'm just this. This is just who I am.
But that comes from us. I think that comes from a space of desperation, TC. I mean, we all are different at different levels, right? So we have to just be very aware. And that's why I think as leaders, we acknowledge that. Like, I'm like, I was at a place where I was like, I need help, but I wasn't very upfront and forefront about the fact that I was needing help. I was like, well, I'm just coming to support you. And it's like, no, I need the help. And I'm literally here, really I should be more transparent and more authentic. And TC, I want to come back to you after this because something you said, I want to hear from Lennis too, because Lennis has been quiet and I know she probably got a bunch of stuff to say about this. But I know that TC, like when you talked about how we approach things, I think sometimes as women, we just like to be really nice. And so that puts us in situations where we get stuck in relationships and community relationships that we don't belong in. I want to think about that. But Lennis, did you have something you wanted to add?
Well, it's interesting
Yeah.
because I'm at a point in my business right now where I'm getting ready to make some changes because I want to move more into the micro influencer sponsorship category kind of thing. And in order to do that, I know I'm going to need some help because I don't have the expertise. So I think it happens at different stages of your business. But in order for you to grow, you have to look at the fact that you have to be transparent about that. Trying to trick someone into helping you is definitely not the way to go. And plus, you're not going to get what you really need because you're not being direct about what it is that you really need. The other thing is that, as an entrepreneur, you got to pivot all the time. You're constantly pivoting all the time.
Yes.
That's part of, what it's about. And in the process of that pivot, you want to remain open to opportunities. Like TC, you just gave me an idea of something I want to talk with you about because of the kinds of social media clients that I get. And this kind of interesting how I got into this. It was not my intention. People came to me asking me, how did I get people to follow me or whatever it was. And I was just going to give them the information, which is what I've been doing for years, which is why I've been in business. This is what I did. They said, well, okay, well, how much do I owe you? I said, I'm not going to charge you for that. She said, girl, look, you've been working at that time for 14 years doing this. You need to be charging me for it. So I was like, okay. So I came up with a price, and then she referred another friend, and just kind of grew from that. And they were all in wellness. They were all women over 50, that kind of thing. But I think, when you maintain an open and honest relationship with potential collaborators, when you get to a point that you hit a wall and you need their help, it's so much easier to say, TC, I've got an idea. I don't know if it's going to work with us or not, but I want to talk to you about it because I know, like, and trust her. And that's where the whole idea of community comes in an organization like this. Just get to know each other, not with the idea of how can you help me? Or how I can help you. But just because they're another human being belonging to the same community that you belong to, that means you might have some things in common. So why not have that conversation so that when the time comes that you might need help, it doesn't seem like you're coming across as an opportunist and disingenuous. I think that's what happens a lot of times. People don't reach out to folks until they need something. Why not reach out when you don't need it? Just because you have that one thing in common, you belong to the W.I.N community. So those are my thoughts.
Oh, that's so good, Linus, because that brought up when I told y'all that I reached out to Darren. That's the point that he was making. He was like, what do you need from me? And I was like, I don't need nothing. I just want to say hi and see who you are. And what do you mean you're weird for for denying me access to just get to know you? And so,
confirmation on that. I was on a Zoom call with a group that I don't know. I know one person who was my publisher, and he and I haven't worked together in 2 years. And it was, quite frankly, all white men over 50. And then here I come showing up. I was the only female, the only Black person. Okay. But you know what? Those guys, had such a go give spirit. That's why they're all seven-figure people. And and there were like 25 of them on there. I have Zoom calls with like 15 of them over the next 2 weeks. I don't know exactly how we're going to intersect or what will happen, but I just want to be on their radar. I just want to get to know who they are. And it's amazing how when you say, hey, listen, I'd like to talk with you. This is what I'm doing. I just want to find out what you're doing. It's amazing. Even people who you think, oh, they're too busy or they're too rich or whatever. They're like, yeah, that's great. I would love to. And it has been such fulfilling conversations. First of all these guys look like they are in completely different camp than I'm in. And some of them were, but it didn't matter because this is business. You cannot judge a book by its cover. 2 of them are going to be on my podcast. Who knew? And a couple other of them have asked me to come and speak to their organizations. I mean, just weird stuff has come out of this. So that's the other thing. You cannot just judge someone by the way they look in terms of whether or not they're going to be able to help you. You will not know until you talk to them. And then you go and you be vulnerable. I mean, you don't necessarily have to talk about the argument you had with your husband last night. I'm not talking about that, but be vulnerable about the needs of your business, the chinks in your armor, that kind of thing. When people see that you're being vulnerable, like I was just vulnerable with you, I'm getting ready to take my company to a different level, but I have no idea exactly how I'm going to do it. That's why I have a meeting with you, Allegra. And I said, I'll tell you a story. This has happened to me last week. And if I could remember this girl's name, I sure would tell you, but I can't remember her name. Anyway, she reached out to me on LinkedIn. And, I'm not on LinkedIn a lot, but I made a conscious effort to try to get more on LinkedIn the second half of this year. So I am accomplishing some of my goals when it comes to that. So she saw something that I posted, so she reached out to me. And so we finally caught up with each other. And one of the reasons why I decided to meet with her is because she was pretty persistent. I had to reschedule a couple of times, missed an appointment another time. It's like, oh, she probably thinks I'm a real flake. So when she said she would meet with me again, I said, okay, fine. So we're talking and everything. Come to find out, she does seem to understand what it is I want to do. She does definitely have the experience, and I think she has the connections. I really do. I hadn't fully vetted her. And here's the reason why. I said, okay, so what's the cost of all this? And she says, nothing. I get my money on the back end from the sponsors. Now, I know that that can be true because people who are really good at what they do when it comes to this whole sponsorship thing, that is how they get paid. They don't take money from the talent. Okay. So I'm like, okay. So we're still talking some more. We're getting ready to make a series of appointments. And I said, okay, well, what's the next step? She said, well, do you use Zelle? And I said, yeah. She said, okay, well, just send me $12.50. And I'm like, okay, what, $12.50? She says, no, $1,250. I said, whoa, wait a minute. You told me there was no cost. She said, well, no, there's no cost for me getting this, but there's cost for training. I got to train you.
Stop.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I said,
Oh, boy.
no, you don't. And I'm thinking, what a sad disservice to all her designations behind her name, PhD, MBA, and everything else. Because I was getting ready, and you know what? If she had come at me differently, because of course something's going to cost something, okay, in terms of my up leveling. But she came that way, and I said, oh, you've lost me forever. And if I could remember the name, I would say cautionary tale, beware of so-and-so. But I can't, it's blocked. But that's a good example of using networking in the wrong way. That it's not even bait and switch. That's just bullshit. That's bullshit.
I think they were just trying to scam you, Lennis, because honestly, there's too many people out here in the world that will reach out to you. I just, and I want to go over to Nakia real quick because she popped in and I wanted to introduce our newest VIP. Well, one of our newer VIPs. But listen, you just hit it for me so hard with the scamming and the things. I had to do a correction in the group the other day. I had to do a PSA. Listen, I don't usually say a lot, but if I have to make an announcement like that, that means that it's been going on for too long.
Wow.
And there's things that we see because we manage that Facebook group like we manage our businesses. There are things that we see that we like, can't do that. Nope, these are the rules. And so what you are talking about, Lennis, I think as a community, we have to all kind of be aware of. Because if someone comes in my community with that same type of energy, listen, I take it personally for all of y'all. Like, it's like, nah, no. So I'm glad that you shared that because a lot of people need to understand that there's a difference between collaborating and connecting with someone who may have, something you need opposed to just some random person that you're just reaching out to and just saying, whatever. But I'm gonna elaborate more on what you said, Lennis, and we're gonna come back around the table. But Nakia, I would love for Nakia to introduce herself because I'm sure she's not shy about connections and collaborations. So introduce yourself, Nakia, and we'll continue the conversation.
Hi, ladies. I hope my mic is on. I've never used this on my phone.
We can hear you.
Okay. And I'm sitting outside in my car, as you can probably see, because I woke up to a loud explosion here in Houston, Texas, by my house, and everybody's power is off. One of the little boxes out here blew up. So I've been sitting outside in my Jeep in the heat all morning. So I'm in my car. But
bless her, Lord.
I am Nakia Campbell. I'm not sure what the discussion is, y'all. I literally hopped on, and when I turned it on, I heard the lady saying, everybody looks stupid when you look at this. I was like, oh, what happened? I was like, what happened in this meeting? So none of you look stupid to me at all. None of you look stupid to me at all. First and foremost, y'all are beautiful. And I hope I don't look stupid because I am literally still.
I don't know, STC. She'll tell you.
No, you don't. Has a way of using words, which she didn't mean stupid. She meant like we just look a little crazy on the side.
She is stupid.
You mean what she said? Okay.
Oh my God. I love it. But yes, I am Nakia Campbell. I don't really know what the discussion is about, but I did have something to say about what Lynn was speaking about.
Well, tell us what you do. What do you do, Nakia?
Oh, what do I do? Hey, I am Nakia. I'm a TV host and a producer. I have my own TV show. I am an international keynote speaker and a mindset coach as well. I haven't been public speaking or doing much coaching outside of my TV show right now, simply because everybody who comes to my TV show, I am actually offering them the opportunity to be coached, because everybody who comes here normally has to travel to Houston to my set from out of town somewhere. So I give them one free night in my 3-story luxurious Airbnb for free. It's included in their TV show package. And I use that night, that time, either before or after their interview, to actually get to learn them, see what they're trying to do with their business. We go out to dinner, and I'm actually providing them with coaching and for their next step, because you can appear on TV and tell your story and try to get your products and services out there, but you know, you're going to need some coaching to know what to do with that, or some extra resources once you leave, because now you're going to have all of these eyes on you from around the world, and it might get a little bit overwhelming, because my TV show is on a global platform. It actually aired on November 15th. It's called The Mental Motivator. Um, and it aired on November 15th, and it had already reached 6 other countries outside of the US by day number 7. So it is growing really quickly. The Mental Motivator is a TV show that aims to inspire the world by showcasing stories of entrepreneurs and leaders and creatives. They tell their stories of trauma. They tell their stories of resilience and how they were able to use the power of their mindsets to overcome those traumas, to move forward in life and in business. And all of these people are very inspiring. They've told stories of, losing their mom, or I had one guest, his son died in his arms, and just different guests. And I absolutely love seeing people from all different backgrounds and all walks of life. I have rappers on my show, a doctor, Dr. Tanya T. Wise, the money mentor, has been on my show. And just a few days ago, like just after 2 weeks of being on air, my show was picked up by another network, by Dame Dash. I'm not sure if you ladies know who Dame Dash is, but yes, my show was picked up by Damon Dash, and he's the one responsible for making Jay-Z. So he loves to work and help entrepreneurs. He loves to help people like me learn how to make the money. I woke up this morning and he had literally just posted me on his Instagram page this morning. So yeah, his name on Instagram is Dusko, Dusko Poppington. He made that name up because his baby boy's name is Dusko. But yeah, I woke up and I saw that they had been tagging my name on Instagram, and looked on his page, and there I was in one of the top spots for a little reel that I made announcing my show. But that is what I do right now. If you are a business owner, which we probably all are, if you're a business owner, entrepreneur, and you really want to try to like reach a new audience, and you want the opportunity to tell your story on TV, to get your products and your services, your books, your music, your food, whatever it is, out in front of the world, I'm right here in Houston, Texas. I have a beautiful TV studio that I built myself, me and my family, and the electricians that I hired, and everybody came through. But I definitely built this TV studio myself. It was my dream. God gave me the vision in my sleep, and I made it plain. He gave me the vision and I made it plain. And I'm definitely living my dream out with this TV studio. So that is what I do right now.
Okay, well, Nakia, we've interviewed Nakia on our Facebook group before, so some of y'all have seen a little bit of the behind the scenes of what her story was, but y'all got to get to know her more. But we were talking about, just like what are the things that you've really learned the most, and when it comes down to community, right? I was talking about, I love the fact that we are just limitless. Like, we don't have any, when we're a part of a community that is really vast and wants you to grow, there's nothing stopping you. But we kind of went to the left a little bit, because we had so many shares about like Well, what happens when people, aren't really partnering up, or they feel intimidated by the partnerships? Or, what about when you show up in community and you just are a little too nice and you get run over? Or what if you're a little too bold and you take advantage? So there's just some things that kind of came out of the conversation that you jumped in the middle of, I think. But
Right.
shout out to Damon Dash. You are the second community member he has taken on and featured. Do you know that? It's crazy to me.
Wow.
Alicia Boateng. Y'all remember Alicia? Alicia was the first one, and then he has you and these features. So I want all the community members to go over to I follow him on Instagram, so I know it's like Dusko Poppins or something like that, like you said.
Yeah. Yeah.
Y'all go over there and y'all support Nakia. Y'all blow that reel or whatever that post is. Blow it
Yeah.
up.
Yeah. Like really post and say, I'm going to download this America New app. I can't wait to watch the Mental Motivator. So
Yes, y'all go
because
there right now. But
so
Nakia, do you want to add to the conversation about like anything that we've talked about when it comes to even vetting the right people within a community? Because just because you're a part of a community does not mean, and this is one thing I think is very, very misleading. Okay, you
right,
get a part of a
right.
community, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, everything's bright and sunny in here, and I'm just gonna, let everyone take advantage of me, right? Or I want to take advantage of everything. And sometimes we have to be very cautious about that. Have you had any experience in that?
I have. Oh Lord. First of all, yeah, I just want to say that like the first example I can give is that I actually went to an event the other night here in Houston, and the event was literally titled Collaboration Over Competition. So I'm like, all right, this should be good. Collaboration over competition. It was a big group of Black women and, all those different things. So I didn't know anybody when I got there. I went out and I met people there and, all these things. And we were supposed to ask each other for our Instagram names and figure out how we can work together. They gave you a card with like 9 different steps on it to what you had to say to each person. So you walk up to this person and it starts out with, hi, what's your name? Are you on Instagram? What kind of work do you do? How do you think we can collab together? Like it was a laid out card. It was really informative and really good. But I can just say for me personally, a lot of the communities that I do go to collaborate with the different people, once they see who I am and what I do, and then they scroll my Instagram page, and if you just keep scrolling, you'll see me and all the celebrities. Um, it's kind of like either they feel like, and I'm a part of even some coaching programs right now, to where when people feel like you're so far ahead of them, I don't know if it's they feel that there's nothing that you could learn from them, so they just stay away from you or they shy away from you. And it's so annoying because I'm like, where are my people? Like, I'm paying to be in this coaching program and I see everybody else supporting each other on Facebook and Instagram saying, oh my God, sis, that's amazing. And I'm like, hey, I'm in this same coaching program and nobody likes anything that I put out. They don't comment on anything that I put out. They don't share anything that I put out. They don't go to any events. I'm literally in Dallas, Texas, doing this huge live event for the Color Purple. Okay. I have
Oh, the
60.
private screening.
Yeah, I have an advanced private screening with Cinemark IMAX Theater for 60 women for the Color Purple, right? I have been promoting this for like 2 months. I sold out the tickets twice. And then I see all these women, like some of my close friends that I even grew up with since middle school, are online saying, hey, I'm looking for an advanced screening of the Color Purple to go to. Anybody know where I can get a ticket? It's like, why didn't you just come to me? We're supposed to be friends. You've been calling me sis. Why didn't you just ask me? Like, what is it about? It just seems like when you're trying to be a part of a group and you really want to fit in like me, because I am so new to entrepreneurship, but I definitely make business just look like pleasure, like my mom always says. She's like, Nakia, you just make business look so fun. Y'all, but it's so hard. Nobody sees me sitting up here crying to myself out loud, praying, asking God, like, where are my people? Like, I'm new to this. I have no idea what I'm doing. And it's really hard when you're like that, but you make it look easy. And so people feel like, oh yeah, She know what she's doing. She don't need us. I I'm not giving her, or either I'm not going to support her and give her my input, because then she's going to go way too high, and people are afraid to support each other sometimes because they feel like your success is rising while they're still staying in the same place. And I don't think that's fair, because I would reach back out to these people and love on them, and bring them up with me, if I had that support. But the other thing was when Lynn was saying something about being in a group and making sure about the lady who tried to reel her in and then charge her some money later on, and it was kind of shady.
The $12.50.
Yeah. So there was a lady who reached out to me on Facebook, a Black lady. She was like, Nakia, I see everything that you're doing. You are so powerful. I would love to take you under my wing, to coach you and blah, 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 blah. She's older than me. So I said, well, you know what? God, this might work out. This might be good. So here I am talking to this lady, telling her all of my dreams, going through my coaching program with her, going through every speech that I'm about to give. I've spoken on stage at university, at the Michigan State University, and in so many different places. So I'm talking through all of this with her, and she was a speaker for domestic violence because her ex-husband had stabbed her 7 times. So she's been speaking about domestic violence since then. I've been a mindset coach since I started. I quickly found out that she wanted to take me under her wing because she wanted to take my information. She wanted to take my program. She wanted to take my speeches. She quickly became this mindset coach all of a sudden on Facebook and Instagram and everything. And she was basically learning information from me because she felt I was just so intelligent, so smart. And she was building a whole program off of everything, off of all of the information that she was taking from me. And when I saw that, I was like, oh, I was so like mortified and let down, y'all, when I was putting posts on Facebook, and this lady was taking my exact wording from the post, putting it on a little Canva ad with her picture next to it, taking every single thing that I was saying, putting it on a Canva flyer with her picture next to it, and posting it on Facebook. Wouldn't even change the words at all. And she was doing this because I was brand new, and she had been out here and been known by the world. So I guess she felt like people were going to think, oh, maybe I was copying off of her because she's been established or something. It's like, no, she's taking everything that I'm doing. And then I prayed about it, and I said, you know what, God, she can take every single word that I have to say, but it won't have the same power because it's not coming from me. She can take everything that I have to say, and it is not going to be the same. It is not going to transfer. It is not going to be received because she does not have the power that I have behind it. And so now she has gone back to being a domestic violence coach and a speaker coach, or whatever it is that she's doing, because she could not hold it down. She couldn't hold it down.
I'm glad you gave that example, because when I first got started in this whole craziness, almost 17 years ago in April, wanting to do an online business online. About a year or two into it, my friends started contacting me saying, girl, do you see so-and-so? She's got the same colors as you and talking the same. And, my wisdom of, having been in corporate America 25 years prior to opening my business was like, you know what, that's okay. Imitation is the most sincerest form of flattery. And it's not her impetus. God didn't give that to her. He gave it to me. And it's not going to come across the same, and it's just not going to be successful. And it wasn't. And this same person for years tried to not just emulate me, but try to find her footing. But when you're operating within your passion, no one can take that from you. They can imitate it, but it's not going to be you. And the other thing I learned in entrepreneurship when it comes to friends and all that kind of stuff, I mean, I went to an all Black female college. I belonged to a sorority. I was active in my community. I had 25 years worth of corporate, connections and everything else. But I knew, I learned very early on that those were not necessarily going to be my supporters. They just weren't. And I didn't even take it personally anymore. There's something in particular about our sisters that we know when it comes to them supporting us. Now, 16 years later, all of a sudden, my sorors and my, folks that I went to college with, all of a sudden they're like, Oh, you're doing this now. Come on. You've been following me for years. You know I'm
Right.
doing this. I don't know what the flip the script was. I don't know why all of a sudden the light went off, but I've never been preoccupied with it. I kind of landed on this, there's a certain kind of folks who are my business and another kind of folks who are my ministry. And that's kind of how I survived and not kept from having my feelings hurt. And it's just weird. Over time, they came around, but I long since decided not to hang my kite on that because I would never get off the ground. Um, it's really weird too because they love you, they support you or whatever, but they don't become your clients. And maybe that's a blessing in disguise. I
Yes,
don't
it
know.
is. Say it out loud to the whole entire world. It is.
Yeah.
Because there's some people that I know that I would not like. Honestly, I'm glad that I don't have to work with them, right? Because it does create a sense of like obligation sometimes. I actually tried working with family before myself. I tried working with, friends before, and that can be very like troublesome. Like so what you both were saying, I think is so important because I think we all went through this. I'm sure TC could probably tell you stories too, because I remember when TC TC came to me years back and she was like, Allegra, these people and this, and I'm like, TC, that's normal. Because I think that in a world that we live in, people that see you growing and going places that they're not, it's just very foreign, right? It's like, okay, I don't know what that looks like. Let me try to mimic that. Let me try to see what that looks like for me. Let me try and take their genius and see if that works for me. And that's their journey. That's where they are. Some people really are not emotionally intelligent or mature enough to accept the fact that they're in a place where they create their own toxicity. So if you're not, in a space where you know who you are, what your goals are, who God created you to be, your purpose, then you're going to try and borrow someone else's. And I think that's just reality. But community, I believe, also helps support you in understanding what that looks like. Because Nakia, to your point, when you were saying, these examples happen to you, you're able to now be an encouragement to someone else and say that happened to me, but that's not going to stop you from getting to your new level. And for you to be that amazing in where you are, like people are, sometimes it's hard for people because in order to kind of like see you, they got to always look up. Right. That's hard because it's like she's that great. She's that big. And I don't know how to connect with that. I don't have that in me yet. And that's why I love mentors and coaches to support, because when you have the right people around you, they're going to tell you things like you're going to be uncomfortable being in spaces with people that are up leveling you, that are above where you need to be, but that's where you have to be because they're going to pull things out of you. And that's why even when you are in a space as a student, right, when you're starting your business, that's why you have to get in places like Linus. She was in a whole room full of white men that had way more money, way more expertise, way more connections. And as Black women, we get told, like, oh, people think a certain way. Let me tell you something. I have been in rooms and boardrooms and places with white men all my life. That does not, what I'm saying? It's the experience that you have. So if you've never been there, if you've never been around that, then when you get in those places in your business, it's like, that's a little intimidating. Like all these men out here making money and they making decisions, but guess what? They want to support you too. They want to be at the forefront to say, I support women-owned businesses. I took Linus from here to there to there. They want to be able to say, I contributed to the purpose of what I feel like I need to do. And when you have such a deficit in our economy where women are so blocked, but we're so blessed at the same time, they're like, they want to be a part of that blessing. And I know that as a witness to myself, because I've been there where I've been a little bit like ashamed, like maybe I don't want to ask that. Or I don't know. I'm feeling really uncomfortable in this space because they're so big. They're giants and I'm not that big. But even in my little small, meeky, little micey voice, I'd be like, I remember being on phone calls and my voice cracking and saying, I was wondering if we could get on a live or, if I could get some support. And I think Nakia said it, or maybe Linda said, I can't remember. And I'm gonna stop here because we do have to get out here over the hour. But I want to say this though. This was a great live for our last one of the year, mind you, because it brings such authenticity and truth to the fact that these are real things that happen in our lives that we have to overcome in the community. And knowing that you have people around you to actually share these experiences with, embrace the fact that your struggles you don't have to go through alone, that's empowering. And once you get to that level of, and for people like, if you're intimidated by someone, and if you know your family don't support you, that is all common stuff. That is going to happen. But you pushing through the discomfort of that is really what builds your confidence as an entrepreneur, and really what makes you say, oh, I see it differently. Because when you are in a space of fear, or, you know, I don't know, I'm not that big, that's where we kind of tend to fail. And so I wanted to just add that part. Let's go ahead and give our final words. And I know TC didn't get to add to that, but I'm going to release it and then let you guys go ahead around the table.
I'm actually, I love to listen a lot, especially when you have like really experienced minds speaking. I just want to listen, because it's amazing how much we get to learn from other people's experiences. That's my very easy way to learn, right? I love to learn from other people's experiences. So yeah, like I was literally taking in everything because Nikia was just dropping all of the examples, and I'm like, yes, when the LinkedIn scam, it's only gonna get worse, yo. Like literally, I think LinkedIn is just it's just kind of sophisticated, LinkedIn kind of scam, but it's really gonna keep happening. I think this period we're gonna have like loads of people first quarter, so that got me smiling. I just wanted to say that that got me smiling. But you're so right about that, and I wanted to say that as much as we keep talking about the community is us, right? We are the community. We are what makes our environments what we want it to be. And if for some reason the environment you find yourself in, the um, the group of people you find yourself in right now are not just keen into your vision, it might be hard, but take a step back, right? Take a step back, reevaluate, because 2024 you don't want to be where you don't want to be, right? We might get emotional, we might get like, sometimes we get like, I am one person that I sit and I'm like, oh Lord, this person, how do you do that? Then I start practicing in the mirror, trying to curate a breakup speech on how I'm going to like take a step back and all that. Hey, 2024, there's really no time for that, right? Evaluate what exactly you want to do with yourself, and if the community is not serving you, take a step back. If you are not serving the community, rethink all of those moves, because most times it's really not about what the community is giving you, it's about what you are giving the community. I rest my case. Over to you, Miss Linus.
Very good.
Well, I'm so glad that I made it to the last one of the year. I didn't even know that. It was been on my calendar and I wasn't able to always get here. So I'm so glad. I hope that's indicative of what's going to be coming for 2024, because Allegra knows I've been trying to be a part of this community. I think that these kinds of talks are really important for so many reasons. If nothing else, if you don't get any ha-ha moments, you get confirmation. Okay, yeah, I am on the right track. Or I'm way off the wrong track. And I think the more vulnerable we are, and the more we're willing to lead with service instead of leading with tuning into the station W.I.N, what's in it for me, the more successful this community is going to be. So I'm hoping for 2024 with, Allegra's great leadership, that we can take advantage of all the wonderful women that are here with all these varied experiences and leverage it in a way where we can grow from a place of service and not just all about what it is for me. And that we learn, because I think we need to relearn how to support and patronize each other. There's nothing wrong with us doing business with each other. We don't necessarily want to lead with that, but I think that we want to learn how to do that in a way that is beneficial, to everyone. So, and TC, I don't mind you saying that sometimes I look stupid, because sometimes I do. I'm not gonna let you live that one down. I will tease you forever, because you're my girl.
It's on replay too.
It's on replay too, girl.
It's recorded.
What can I say?
His
Mr. Van's
let's
neighbor.
get
The hashtag you look
the
stupid.
part.
Oh, not the hashtag Jesus. Okay.
Well, if it's on me, I'm glad that I made it to this meeting. This is probably, I know this is the first meeting ever like this that I've been a part of. I was on the last LinkedIn thing, but you couldn't see anybody. We were like in the little bitty circle.
The audio.
But yeah. So I'm glad that our niece got me into this group at the right time. I look forward to going into 2024 with you ladies, building a community with you ladies. And the only last thing that I have to say about everything that I've heard, Allegra, you've mentioned the word levels, and we've all mentioned leveling up and how people get when we are in their circles, or they call us their sis, and we level up and everything. The only thing that I want to leave is a message that I got from a pastor yesterday. I posted it on my Facebook yesterday, Allegra. You might have seen it, you might have not, but that message was just 4 words: new levels, new devils. New levels, new
Yeah.
devils. So as you continue to level up, you continue to get better, you continue to see more success, you continue to increase, the new devils will come. And sometimes those devils will be the people who have been the closest to you all this time. And as a part of my speech that I often give when I'm keynoting on stage, I always end a part of my speech by letting everybody know that when you shift your mindset and you're doing the work to become successful, the people who are the closest to you will move the farthest away. And that is because those people were only benefiting from the version of you that you did not believe in.
Ooh. She just snatched my entire soul with that one. Okay, well, listen, we're just going to end the live at this point. Nakia, that was powerful. And thank you, Linus. Powerful words of wisdom as well. TC, of course, Sarah had to bounce because she's doing an interview for our internship. But I just want to say this, okay? These LinkedIn roundtables are so powerful. Community, anything is powerful. But you see that we want to hold space as many places as possible to get the message out, so that you all can know that there are safe communities. There are places where you have powerful women like ourselves who are on new levels. And yes, new levels and devils, honey. And guess what? You better put on the armor of God, because as you grow, right, it's like seriously. And I'm a witness to that. I've been in business for 18 years, so I get it. It's like you want to lose family, you lose friends, you're going to lose everybody. And people that really need to be there, God will put in your life. And that's why we have to surrender and release ourselves through this process, because business will build you. I love how Ariana said the business is always building you. And it is. And we don't know what that looks like on the other side. We never know. But that new true self and that new level that we're at, it's always so refreshing, so reviving, so encouraging, because now you can make a bigger impact in the world. Now you can see things differently where you didn't see it like that before. And God, listen, if I had the same attitude about people in my life that I did, 5 years ago, we would not be sitting here on this community table. I would be super petty. Y'all would be like, oh my God, Allegra is like the pettiest person ever. Y'all, I don't want to come back here ever again, right? I had to be able to develop through my relationships and through learning, and not take it personally when people did not want to grow with me. That's okay. Sometimes you have to be able to let people go so they can grow, and their direction is not your direction. And so as we build community, we have to understand that as well, even with community. There are people that have been in our community, y'all, that you will see. We have an open door policy. You leave and you can always come back. That thing is revolving, because there are going to be times where you're going to leave because you're going to be frustrated, upset, and think life is going to life. People are going to people. But as the WIN community grows, as we become more nationwide, as we actually become more involved in our experience to change the lives of women and the men who support us, we know that people are going to need a safe space. And so that's what we're here for. So thank y'all. I appreciate you so much for being here for our last live of the year. Y'all for listening to us. Whoever is listening here and on the replay, we appreciate you as well. It is not by happenstance that you're listening to this. And we know that if you need a community to support you, not only are we a great community, but we have amazing women around us that have their own. Linus has a community. The mental motivator, Nakia, has a community. TC has a community. And that's why it's so important to be a leader in your own space, but also be a part of community as well. Thank you, ladies. We're going to go ahead and get out of here. Y'all have an
Thank
amazing day.
you. Bye-bye.
Great job, ladies. Great job, ladies. Great job. All right. Bye, Linus.
Bye. Where was it streaming to?
So we stream to Facebook, the Facebook group, LinkedIn on my page, which I'll share it on the Women into Networking LinkedIn page as well, and the YouTube.
Can I share from your LinkedIn page to mine? Does LinkedIn let you do that? Okay. So it's under Allegra Jackson?
Yeah, but I also download it. So I will have it, I can send a copy to you if you want, but I usually put it up in the drive.
Okay. Okay, cool. All right. See you later.
Thank you, Lynn.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.